Welcome to Be Well Philly Fest, presented by Independence Blue Cross. My name is Julia Nuftulin, and I am the owner, operator, and an instructor here at Everybody Movement and Wellness in West Philadelphia. And I want to start off just thanking you so much for joining me, for starting your day with this energizing fascia flow class. If you have experience doing Pilates or yoga or even mobility work, many of the movements that we're about to do will feel familiar to you, but today we're going to perform some of them with a really specific focus. And that focus is fascial elasticity. So anytime I cue these elastic movements, conjure up imagery that makes you think of a controlled fall and release, right? A bounce. Anything that makes you think of a spring, like a TheraBand stretching, bouncing on a yoga ball. You can see some of those yoga balls up there. Jumping on a trampoline, right? We're gonna try to literally put some spring in your step today. Want you to know that obviously I can't be there with you to modify, to assist, to adjust. So I'm going to trust that you know in your own body, because you're listening to the sensations of your body, the difference between a challenging growth space, right, that feels fruitful, where you feel like you're evolving, versus just pain, right? You can stop at any point. You could spend this whole class in child's pose. I can't see what you're doing, and I'm not judging either way. So remember also, your movements don't have to look exactly like my movements. Really, it's not about the appearance of the movement. We're all trying to replicate that essential quality of elasticity to help strengthen and stabilize our joints. All right, why don't we get started? We're going to start off standing today. Always good to start standing for an energizing workout, because it's really tempting to fall asleep when you start lying down. So let's begin. I think I'll show you from the side. Grounding down through your feet. You're going to take your feet hip distance apart and parallel, measuring from your hip bones, right? Your ASIS to either side of your pelvis. Then press into your big toe, your pinky toe, and your heel. Then just imagine a plumb line through the center of your body, like a vertical axis. Think about the ears, shoulders, ribs, hips, not hips, hips and heels being stacked on top of each other. And start to find a little engagement through your core, right? A little pelvic floor squeeze and lift to maintain this neutral alignment. Then with your inhalation, we're going to begin to shift forward into your toes, keeping the heels down. Exhale, rock into the heels, toes down. We're going to keep going like this, right? Just maintaining that vertical alignment as you shift, like you're a plank. You don't have to think about actively engaging any particular muscles. Just notice what starts to fire to stop me from falling. Where am I experiencing this movement in my body? I'm going to keep going. Just make sure that your pelvis or your ribs aren't doing anything funky to lose that alignment, right? Let's do one more time. Into the toes and back into the heels. All right, now, from here, let's start to bring some movement into your ankles, into your arms. This is called an arm arc. With your in-breath, roll onto the balls of the feet, arms come up, exhale, arms open, roll into the heels. All right, we're going to keep this going. And if you start to notice, as you're performing this movement, that you're rolling toward the outsides of your feet, and I say outsides because that's the most common pattern, you can think about pushing your big toes down. You can think about firing up your inner thigh muscles, right? Like you're trying to pop a balloon between the tops of your thighs, right? Otherwise, you're maintaining that vertical plumb line the whole time you move. And just going for a nice big range of motion through the arms. Go for one more. Bring in some warmth into the feet and the arms. All right, now we're gonna move into your first roll down. I keep switching sides just to try to give you the best vantage point. If you happen to know you have SI joint dysfunction, a generally unstable pelvis, please do yourself a favor. Don't come into deep spinal flexion to roll down. Bend your knees if you want to do this at all. Okay. Otherwise, we're going to start to curl your chin to your chest and just visualize a gate at your waist. And that gate is smothered in peanut butter or honey or jam, if that's your jam, right? Something sticky that you don't want all over your clothes. And so you're pulling your abdominals up, away from that imaginary gate as you round forward. When you can't go any farther down, bend your knees, press your palms down in front of your feet. Take a couple breaths, just noticing all that length through your neck, right? No holding through your neck, through your jaw, through your brow. With your inhalation, extend your legs to their max, whatever that looks like. Bend your knees, right? Your max might not be my max. And remember, your max could be different on a different day. So just keep listening. Like, stay tuned into what your body's asking for. Extend and bend. Good. Now from here, root down through your heels. We're going to try to find your pelvic floor, right? Squeeze the sit bones together, squeeze the hip bones together. You're using your belly, using the front of the body to help lift the back of the body up, coming right back into that plumb line. That's it. All right, from here, let's start our first bouncy, springy, fascial elasticity movement. So back into your hip distance apart stance. We're gonna build on that arm arc. We're gonna roll up and then add a little knee bounce and arm swing, roll down. Roll up, big toes press, bounce, and lower. So notice, it's not huge. You just want your knees to feel like springs. If you want to add a little exhalation with that knee bounce, go for it. And you want to find some freedom through your arms. Let them feel nice and loose in the joints. Roll it up. And down. Last time. Imagine you're bouncing on that imaginary yoga ball behind you. Okay. Second roll down. Let's start chin to the chest. Right, so that gate's still there. You want to feel your abdominal muscles scooping in and up. Feel the belly opening the back of the body, going for really even flexion, even roundness through your spine. And when you can't maintain that roundness any further, let your knees bend, plant your palms down. We're going to keep the palms pressed. Check back in with your neck. Just let gravity traction your skull down. Same with your shoulders. See if they're creeping up to your ears. Just remind them they're not earmuffs, so let them go. This time we're going to inhale and extend just your right leg. Exhale, let the knee bend. Then to the left and bend. So we're going to keep alternating side to side. Right? Move at your own pace and within your own range. Right? This is your movement. And bend one more time. Extend and bend. Good. Now let's root down through your heels. You can squeeze your glutes to help you lift. We're going to find that plumb line. Hips over heels. Zipper up. Ribs over hips. Shoulders over ribs. And finally, the skull. All right, now we're going to really start to get cooking. We're going to build on that arm arc and add a squat to it. As you breathe in, roll onto the toes, arms come up, and then squat back through the heels, arms stretch back. So if you're rolling to the outsides of your feet, if you're feeling like your weight is coming into your pinky toes, feel those inner thighs. It's going to help you stay really centered. Right? Hips over heels as you come up, hips back to squat down. Let's go for 2 more. Try now to warm up your legs a little bit. All those big muscles through the legs. Squat back and stack. All right, now let's do what's literally called an energy swing. Perfect for today's class. Another elastic bouncing motion through all the joints of your legs. You're gonna start with your arms up. Exhale as you bounce. We're gonna exhale, fall forward, bounce up, catch yourself, right? So controlled fall, and up. Like a catch and release, release forward. And up, pause, exhale. Right, imagine that spring through the knees, through the hips. 2 more times. Freedom of motion through the arms, last time. And up. All right, well, hopefully you're starting to feel a little bit of energy shifting, a little bit of warmth. We're gonna get into the meat of our workout now. Start by opening your legs a little wider. And now, maybe from the side, it's still best for this one. We're going to, with straight arms to start, squat back. Slide your hands down your legs. If you're gonna drop your chest, you're welcome to bend your elbows. Then as you exhale, curl the tailbone under, round the spine to lift. Let's do it again. So sit bones open. You're sending your seat back behind you during that squat. Exhale, using your core to create that rounded shape through the spine. Inhale. We're doing this because it feels good. Exhale. Right, there are lots of reasons to move, but that should be our top priority. Inhale. Right, prioritize movement pleasure. Exhale, round the spine. Now from here, we're gonna squat down, keep the arms straight and the chest lifted. We're gonna add a rotation, right? So you can twist to your right, let your left shoulder drop down, and then other side. Good, little spiral of the rib cage from side to side. You can imagine all the space between the ribs. Keep that space really long. Let the ribs fan open. 1 more time. Rotate. And rotate. Good. Come back to center. Curl the tailbone under. Stack up. And now from here, let's start squatting down low as you want. Right? Squat down. If you want to reach down, touch, go for it. Then spin the thigh bones open into external rotation. Spin them forward. Squat it down. Turn it out. So we're just starting to spin, glide those thigh bones. Spin the head of your femur in your pelvis. And squat. 1 more time. Squat down, weight through the heels. And squat. Okay, now let's let your arms open. If you ever feel more stable with your hands on your hips, know that it's fine to keep them there. That's fine. All right, we're going to start to bend the knees. Now from the side, I want you to see, you still have that plumb line. Super tempting to do with this kind of thing, right? Ears, shoulders, ribs, hips, stacked in space. It might mean you don't go down very deep. Great. Right, go to your edge, find your personal edge. Now we're gonna lift the right heel, pivot on the right foot. So now all your toes are facing in the same direction in a lunge. Pivot and open back to your centered squat. Other side, pivot and center. Now, if it feels like at any point there's too much space between your legs, shorten the space, right? It doesn't have to be a really wide squat. We're just trying to spin those thigh bones in your pelvic basin. Waken up the joints. Last time here, pivot and center. Okay, I'm gonna shorten up my space a little bit. We're gonna add a bounce. Okay, so arms open, hands on hips, right? Whatever suits you best. Let's bounce, bounce, extend. bounce. So imagine that yoga ball, and you're bouncing your seat on it. Bounce, bounce. Otherwise, you're still engaging from the pelvic floor to lift you. One more time, bounce, bounce. Extend, good. Now let's build on it. We're going to bounce, center, step left to right, gentle side bend. Now out with the left foot, bounce, bounce, right to left, side bend. Step out, centered squat, then squeeze the inner thighs together, pull up from the armpit. Step, step, bounce, and reach. Don't worry about the shortening side. Think about lengthening the side in order to shorten the other. One more. Bounce, bounce, and stretch. Okay, now we're going to change it up. Bounce, bounce, hold in a kite. Right, so this is where you get into the really seriously challenging part of these elastic motions. It's often not the elastic part, it's the pause afterwards, as evidenced by that wobble. Bounce, bounce, pause. So transitioning from this plyometric strength to the hold. Pause. You can think about squeezing the standing glutes to help you balance. Now we're going to try to hold, lower and lift. Lower and lift. So I'm squeezing my seat on my right side, pushing down through my heel, and then just using my glutes to pulse that leg behind me. One more time, lower. Lift, let's step it out. Centered squat, balance. Lower, lift. Check in with your shoulders. Are they hiking up? Glide them down, right? You don't need any more tension than the world provides. 2 more. Last time, keep the front of the ribs closed. Step out, bounce, bounce, and straighten the legs. Good, okay. So that was our first series. We're gonna move into a lunging series now. So to begin, we're gonna start with some foot flicks. Open your arms into a T. We're gonna make your left leg your standing leg, and with your right foot, you're gonna flick it off the floor like this, right? So you can see I'm really pointing, I'm in plantar flexion through the foot. All right, let's give it a shot. You're gonna brush through the foot, no shifting of weight off your standing leg, and you're going for this sound. All right, now obviously, I'm making that sound with my mouth. That's not my foot, but it should feel like you're striking a match, right? Building elasticity through the arch and the toes. Now let's flick. We're gonna pause, reach your arms down, extend your right leg behind you. We're gonna try to keep that right hip drop toward the mat, because if you're anything like me, it wants to open so badly. But we're gonna keep the pelvis square. Think about reaching through your fingertips, activating your belly to help support your back. Reaching out down the back of your right leg. Now let's bend your standing leg, step the right foot to the floor behind you. And we're gonna start some 90-90 lunges. So I'm gonna take arms up. If you would prefer hands on your hips, that helps you feel stable, go for it, right? Whatever suits you. We're going to bend both knees and straighten. So notice, when I'm lunging, I'm not shifting forward, I'm not shifting back, right? It's even split, even division of weight between the legs. Now your lunges don't have to be this deep, right? Take care of your knees. It might be little. That's great, it's just as effective. We're gonna lunge and straighten. Okay, now let's add a bounce to it. So if you're using arms, we're gonna take left arm down, keep the right arm up, and then bounce, bounce, straighten, right? Control, fall, recoil up. Let those knees spring you. Let the hips spring you. You can either keep going like this or we're gonna add a balance element, the tricky bit. Let's bounce, bounce, lift opposite arm and leg, bounce, bounce, and lift. So it's hard to harness that plyometric strength. We're gonna bounce, bounce, exhale to come up. If you wanna make it extra challenging, add a little rib rotation toward that lifting knee. Step back, bounce, bounce, twist. Last time, bounce, bounce, twist. All right, we're gonna step the right leg back. Start to fold forward. Now here you can see I have some blocks. If you don't have blocks at home, know that you can be just as successful using books, using shoeboxes, using not little cans, but those big old cans of stewed tomatoes, if you know what I'm talking about. All right, so if you want blocks, take them to either side of your foot. I'm gonna put them aside and just take my hands down, give you a better view. We're gonna extend the front leg, extend that left leg, and let your body really drop down. Let your chest come down, let your shoulders relax. From this position, keeping your front leg as straight as it's gonna be, it might never be straight, that's fine. We're gonna add a bounce. Bounce, heel is lifted, and extend of that right leg. Bounce, bounce, right? So picture a yoga ball right behind you. You're smashing your seat into it every time you bend. Bounce, bounce, extend. Now, here's the tricky part. If you want to walk your hands a little farther forward or take them on the blocks forward, go for it. We're going to transition into bounce, bounce, standing split. So soft landing, you roll right into that bounce, explode up. Bounce, bounce those elastic joints, press your leg up. Last time, bounce, bounce, and lift. Now let's just hang out here. Notice your shoulders, notice your neck. You really just want to feel the effort from the outside of that right hip to help you lift the right leg up. Otherwise, let gravity pull your skull down and breathe. We're gonna bend into the standing leg, take your right foot down behind you, and from here, bring your hands, both of your hands, inside your left foot. Now at this point, you might want to bring your knee down. That's absolutely fine, okay? You're welcome to keep it down the whole time, right? But I'm gonna show you with your leg up on your toes. If you want to deepen this, open the foot, right? These are all options. You can automatically feel this opening through the outside of the hip. You can stay here, or if you want to further deepen, rotate to your left on the outside of the right foot too. Take the arm up. Now here, you want to be on your knee, great, stay on your knee. Just bring your foot behind you, and you can still do your dips there. Okay, but I'm going to show you straight leg. From here, drop your hip down, drop your pelvis, arm lowers. Lift the hip up if you want to be fancy. Add a little twist, tap the mat. You're going to drop the hip down. Oh, that feels good. Go ahead and groan if you want to. I like to groan when I move because I'm very middle-aged. One more time. Drop the hip and tap. Now, both hands come down. Pivot on your toes back to the lunge. We're going to step the left leg back, fold forward, walk your hands back towards your feet, come down into your ragdoll, heavy skull, and then stack all the way back up to stand. All right, that was one side. Let's do the other side. I'm going to adjust my costume first. Excuse me, I wore my slidey pants. Didn't clip my hair back. A lot of regrets now. All right, we're going to open your arms into a T. So now, your right foot is your standing foot. You're rooting through the heel, and we're going to flick, right? That left foot, really push, heel arch toe. So imagine that, striking a match, or like a dressage horse, which I've never actually seen, but I'm assuming this is what they look like. Let's go for one more. Flick, like a pretty little pony. You're gonna extend the leg back, reach the arms back. Now imagine your hip bones have headlights attached, and you want that light shining straight down, not out to the side, even if your hip desperately wants to, like mine does. So fold as far forward as you'd like. Keep your breath moving. Then from here, we're gonna bend into the standing leg. Step the left foot down behind you. Either arms up for your lunges or hands on hips, right? Whatever suits you today. We're gonna start 90-90. Both knees bend and straighten, right? Just like you're sliding your spine up and down an imaginary wall. We're keeping that plumb line, right? So all your forces are moving up and down the spine the way they should be. One more time. Now, if you're using arms, we're going to keep the left arm up, right arm comes down. I think that's right, I'm questioning. We're gonna bounce, bounce, extend, right? Think catch and release. Everything feels like springy, like elastic, bounce, bounce. Now keep going like this, or bounce, bounce, balance on the single leg. Bounce, bounce, bounce. Step back, find the floor quickly, bounce, bounce, balance. Add that little rib twist if you'd like. Bounce, bounce. Hip bones still stay hugged in around the navel. There's some light core engagement to help you balance. Last time, balance. Good, now step the foot back. You can lunge into your front leg, fold forward. If you want to grab your props, place your hands on them, now is the time. But we're going to transition from a bent front knee to a straight front leg. And think about plugging your right thigh bone, your front thigh bone back into your pelvis here. Relax your chest. Relax those shoulders. And then lifting your rear heel up, let's bounce, bounce, extend. Right. Bouncing through all those joints. Ankle, knee, and hip. One more time. We're going to turn it into bounce, bounce, standing split. If you want to adjust your hands, please go for it. We're going to bounce, bounce, spring that leg up. Now land like a cat on the foot and spring. Two more. Roll through the foot, through the ankle. Last time here, bounce, bounce, spring. Let's hang out. So feeling gravity, tractioning your skull down. Pulling up through the thigh of your standing leg and then lifting from those left glutes. Push out through the heel of the lifting leg. We're going to bend into the standing leg. Find the floor with your left foot. Both hands come inside the right foot. Either straight leg or down onto the knee. You're welcome to stay there the whole time, right? That is your choice. I'm going to show you straight leg variation. If you want to open, roll onto the outside of your right foot. So right away, you're bending into that hip stretch, that deep hip stretch. If you want to further stretch through the hips, through the lateral lines of fascia of your body, we're going to rotate to the outside of your left foot and the right foot. Arm comes up, or remember, you can come on the knee. Just take the foot back behind the knee. And from here, inhale, drop the pelvis. Exhale, lift up. Maybe you do your fancy tap. Inhale, drop it down. Exhale. Now make it your goal to keep this supporting shoulder down away from the ear, right? So your scapula is always really stable. The armpits stay pressed away from each other in space. And tap. Okay, we're gonna pivot on the feet. Weight comes into both of your arms. Contract through your core abdominals. Step your right foot back. Let's fold into, I'm gonna call it inverted V, right? Now I'm calling it inverted V instead of down dog because a V has a point, right? And if you look at my tailbone, my sit bones, it's a point. It's not a rounded shape, right? Point. I'm not saying that dogs don't have a point. I love dogs. Okay, don't misunderstand. But we're going to start in this pointy V. Maybe that means you bend your knees to help open the sit bones and lift the tail, right? Whatever you need to do, go for it. As you exhale, tuck your tailbone under. You're going to take a little shift forward, then bend the knees, find that point, lift the tail, extend the legs. They might never straighten, that's fine. Curl the tail under, bend the knees, lift the tail up, extend. One more time. Now all the time you're doing this, you're pushing your pinky fingers away from each other. You're spreading your upper back muscles really wide. Okay, now we're going to take this and wave through your whole spine. As you exhale, curl the tail. You're rounding low back, mid back, upper back. Finally, stacking the shoulders over the wrists in a plank. Then to return, inhale, bend the knees. You're neutral. Your pelvis is neutral. Your sit bones are spreading as you push back through your arms and back into your inverted V. Let's exhale, curl the tail. Feel that ripple of energy up the front of the body. Stack the spine. Knees bend, they're hovering. You're not tucking, you're not arching, you're neutral as you shift back. And then legs extend, maybe not all the way. This time, let's wave. Right? Imagine a zipper from your pubic bone working its way all the way up to the navel, to the ribs, to the crown of the head. From here, we're going to twist to your left. Open the arm. Now, if it feels like it's too much here, come down onto your knee. Stay on your knee. You don't have to do anything further. If you want to stay on your legs and on a straight arm, go for it. You can pause here, or we're going to bend the knees, right? They fold on top of each other. And then straighten the legs, right? If you feel stable and strong enough to add a little rotation up toward the ceiling, go for it. You can slightly open your chest. We're just going to go for one more. Now from here, pivot on the toes, rotate back down. We're going to gather the hip bones together, fold into your inverted V. Feel your armpits, your shoulder blades as wide on your back as they can be. Let's do it again. Let's start with that wave. Pelvic floor squeezes, you're curling the tail. Feel that ripple working its way up the spine. Then rotate over to the outside of the left foot. Remember, you can always take the knee that's available. And we're going to start bending the knees. Oh, maybe you can hear that little ambient West Philly noise out there. Welcome to the neighborhood. Now, it might feel like all the action's at your legs, it's actually through your shoulder blade. Push the shoulder blade down away from the ear one more time. Good, now from here, little pivot, shoulders over wrist. You're in your plank. We're gonna fold, right? Final inverted V. We're gonna do some little knee bounces. As you exhale, bounce, bounce. Slow extension, maybe the legs straighten, maybe they don't. Bounce, bounce. And extend. Feel a connection from your armpits all the way to the pinkies. Bounce, bounce. And extend. One more time. Bounce, bounce. Extend. Good. Come all the way onto your knees. And let's take a sequence in quadruped. Shoulders over wrists, hips over knees. Right. The first thing that we're going to do is start bending one elbow at a time, right? So I love this movement. Yes, because you get a whole lot of tricep work, but also you get this beautiful thoracic rotation. And again, it should feel good. That's the idea. It is not punishment. Let's go for one more to either side. Try to keep as much weight into that bending arm as you can. Last one. Bend and extend. Now from here, this is deceptively hard. We're gonna bend both elbows. So your chest stays right over your hands. You're not shifting back. You're gonna bring the elbows all the way down. Then shift back. Extend the arms, lifting the elbows. There's still pressure in your arms, and shift forward. Let's do that again. Elbows bend, abdominals pull up, shift back. Keep pressure in the backs of the arms as you lift and come forward. One more time. Let's keep those elbows really narrow, like you're holding onto a ball between them. Elbows lift and shift forward. Now this time we're gonna come down, stay down. Down onto the elbows. To do this work, think about pushing your forearms away from each other, rolling toward the outsides of the forearms. That's gonna help you stabilize your upper back, your shoulder girdle. Now let's extend the right leg only back. With your inhalation, open the pelvis to the right. Let it spin. Exhale, square your hips. And do that 2 more times. Open and square. So we're just spinning your pelvic bones now. And square now. This time, open, stay open, contract through your core, push your elbows wide, and let's lower and lift. So let it feel like nothing is moving except this thigh bone in space. I'm gonna go for one more, lower and lift, and then pull the knee down. All right, let's move on to the other side. So go ahead, push your elbows away, like you're tearing your mat in half, right? We're going to extend the left leg, open the hip, drop it down. Open the hip and drop one more time. Open, stay open, lower and lift. Right, let it be the only thing moving. Shoulders stay low away from the ears. Core muscles are lifting, tap, and up, pull the knee down. Good, all right. To transition up, let's take a moment here. Curl your toes under. Right now, I like to go the extra step of pulling my toes apart. Right, especially your pinky toe and whatever it is that you call the toe next to it. I know it's not the ring toe, that toe. If it feels okay to sit into your toes here, give them a chance to spread and stretch. If it's too much, shift forward into your arms, and then you can mitigate the pressure by pushing back with your hands. Right? We're gonna take a couple breaths here. A little treat for your feet. And then come all the way up. We're gonna come onto your knees for a kneeling sequence. If you have sensitive, tender knees, please place a thin blanket, thin pillow underneath them. You don't want something too thick so that it will make your knees and hips uneven. We're gonna start with the right leg open to the side. I'm gonna take my arms up. You wanna take your hands on your hips, please feel free. As you inhale, you're gonna sit straight back toward your left heel and then come forward. I'm gonna show you a little side view for a moment. Sit back and hip over knee. Let's do a couple more like that. You wanna feel into those glutes to bounce you up, right, from your seat. Sit back, squeeze from the seat to lift. Okay, now, bend your right knee, 90-degree angle, knee right over the heel. we're going to find that plumb line and then just shift it to the side like a typewriter carriage. Although I said like a typewriter carriage to someone the other day, and they said, you need new references. So whatever the modern day version of a typewriter carriage is, that's how you're shifting. Right? You want to scrunch up your mat, your rug, whatever you're on, between your heel and your knee. Right? Cinch it, pull the thigh bones up. And now with your next exhalation, we're going to bounce and up in this deep hip release. We're trying to elasticize your inner thighs. Right? Really important to work all the muscles that support your knee joints. So important. Whether you're looking for plyometric strength or just the ability to come in and out of a chair successfully. Okay, now shift into your left hip, extend your right leg, maybe fully, maybe not. Open that left arm up, side bend. From here, we're gonna do a combo of these two movements, right? This arm is gonna become a pendulum as you swing it. We're gonna exhale, swing the arm, bounce, side bend, exhale, and open the side body, exhale. Right, that same elastic press through the right heel. One more time. And up. All right, now from here, let's come onto both knees, knees directly underneath your hip bones. I'll show you from the side. Take a moment to imagine that my thumbs are a tailbone, my index fingers are a pubic bone, right? This is your pelvic floor here. And as you sit back, your pelvic floor is stretching. The space between the tailbone and the pubic bone getting longer and longer and longer. As you exhale to come up, it's shortening. You're tucking your tail. Okay, let's do that again. Inhale. So you're opening that space. Stretching it, stretching it. Exhale, squeeze the sit bones and lift. So now we're really working. Hopefully you feel all those muscles through the quads, right? Connecting your pelvis to your knees. Sit back toward the heels. Maybe you go a quarter of the way, halfway, maybe you go all the way, it doesn't matter. Exhale, tuck, and come up. Now, pretend there's a ball sitting on your heels. You're just gonna bounce, bounce, bounce. Up and down, off that imaginary ball. Bounce and bounce. All right, let's open your left leg. We're gonna keep left big toes pressed down into the floor. They're pointing forward, arms up, hands on hips, whatever suits you. Let's breathe in, sit back toward the heel, right? You're not shifting side to side. You're keeping this line, hip, knee, and heel aligned. Inhale, open the chest. You can always imagine that you're swimming, you're pushing back through the water, find a little resistance, and arms come up. Last time, inhale, and exhale. Okay, now bend the knee into your hip release position, 90-degree knee bend. Find that sense of lifting from the pubic bone, dropping your tailbone, shift to the side, not like a typewriter carriage, right? Whatever imagery works for you, and then spiral the bottom of your thighs up. We want to feel these thigh bones plugging in, right? Your inner thigh muscles are like this undergirding of support. Pelvic floor too. Now with your next exhale, we're gonna bounce and come up. Bounce. Remember, range of motion is your range of motion, within your range of safety. Doesn't have to look like me ever. Bounce. And bounce. 2 more times. Bounce. Keeping this plumb line. Bounce. Now extend the leg, maybe straight, maybe not. Side bend. Lifting up from out of the rib cage, out of the armpit. Let's turn this right arm into a pendulum. As you exhale, swing and open the side body. Bounce, pushing into that left heel, right? Press down into the heel and stretch to the side. Now notice as I swing with that pendulum, my ribs are rotating too. That's cool. Let it happen if it wants to. 2 more times. Bounce and stretch. Last one. And stretch. That's it. Good. All right. Let's come back onto your knees. We're going to step the right foot forward, this time into a 90-90 kneel, right? Not as hard as the lunge, but still a really active position. You're pushing through the bottom of your front foot, the top of your rear foot. Now let's add, I'm not even going to call it a side bend, just a lift. Show you from the diagonal, right? I'm not really leaning so much as I'm growing from that left side. Maybe shortening the right side slightly. Then I'm going to add a little arm float and lower. So this is just adding a little load, extra load for your core to support. We're going to do one more. Lift and lower. Then come all the way up here. Now, as you inhale, we're going to extend your front leg, arms open, and lunge. Extend. Think about that right thigh bone, the front thigh bone, pulling back into the pelvis. One more time. Extend, sit back, and lunge. Now, same idea, but with a totally different focus. Bring your hands down to either side of the foot. You're welcome to use your props here. We're going to aim for opening the front of the foot and the ankle. And to do this, you need to press your toes to the floor. So it looks like this. Sit back, toes are glued, feel that stretch, and then lunge, right? So just a little tweak like that really changes the effect of the movement, right? Yes, you're still going to feel your hamstrings, your hip flexors, but concentrate on that ankle glide. One more time. Lunge and sit. All right, we're going to switch out the feet. Back to this 90-90 position. Little lift through the pubic bone, drop through the tailbone, sit bones. Let's grow. Elongate the right side. Yep, keeping the shoulder out of the equation, just let it slide down your back. Left arm up and down. You can flip the palm up to lift, palm down to lower. 2 more times. Light engagement through the core to support this shape. And down. We're going to come all the way up. And now suction that thigh bone back. Lunge into the knee. So the hips stay square as you shift forward and back. Remember, you can always just keep those hands on your hips. And lunge. Right now, same thing, folded forward, hands on the floor on a block, but now make it all about that ankle. Sit back, toes squeeze, glue them down, and lunge. Press through the toes and lunge. Think opposition between the toes pushing and the thigh bone plugging in. We're going to make this a really fluid, seamless, rounded movement with no edge to it. One more. Good, that's it. All right. Let's come all the way down onto your belly. And just be sure that you have enough room in your space to fully open your arms, full range of motion. We're gonna either float your feet up, many people find that's easier with the feet lifted, or press your toenails down, lift your knees. Let's hover the head, hover the arms, and as you breathe in, let the arms open. Once they're in a T, flip your palms up, keep the palms up, reach back through your fingers towards your toes. Arms open, flip the palms down, reaching forward, and relax. So we're playing around with a full range of motion, full range of rotation. Inhale, arms up, let them open, flip the palms, glide the shoulders back away from the ears. Arms open, palms flip down, stretch forward, and relax. One more time, make sure that your core muscles are lifting. You want to feel them scooping up away from the mat to help support you. Arms open, arm bones rotate, reach forward, and relax. All right, we are gonna finish off today's class. The way I like to finish most mat-related endeavors, if you've ever worked with me, you know this, we're gonna do a chest opener because it feels good and you have worked hard and deserve it. All right, let's squeeze the heels together. Now you can either take 2 fingers together on one hand and grab onto those fingers, either hand doing either thing, or if you don't like that, grab onto a sock or a band or a strap, anything, a scarf, right? We're going to press the tops of the toes down. Inhale, core muscles lift, arms extend back. We're spreading the chest, gliding the shoulder blades back away from the ears, and at the same time, tractioning the crown of the head forward. With your exhalation, relax down through your chest, through your head. Let's do that again. Inhale. First, feel your belly lift. Then feel the shoulder blades, right? Feel those armpits as low and wide as they can be. Then feel the base of the skull reaching out of the shoulder blades. Exhale. One more time. Inhale, squeeze the heels together. The inner thighs are still really active. We're gliding those blades back, sending the crown of the head forward like you're a turtle poking out of its shell. And relax down. You can press into your palms, sit back into a child's pose, either with your knees together or open. Just relax your head all the way down. You can keep your arms forward. You can fold your arms alongside your body, right? It's your child's pose. Do what you'd like. And while you're here, imagine every breath getting pulled up from your tailbone, traveling along your spine, and release each breath from the crown of your head, aiming to find just a little more space, a little length through your spine with each exhalation. And at the bottom of your next exhalation, keep your head heavy, your shoulders heavy. Start to drop your seat down towards your feet. And let's stack all the way up through the pelvis, the ribs, the shoulders, the head. Wow, well, thank you so much for joining me for today's energizing class. I hope that you actually do feel a little bit energized. I hope that you feel a little bit of that bounce and you can take it out into your day with you. Please check out the Be Well Philly directory, the website, for more information about the studio, about the class, and about other offerings that they have. Otherwise, please, you can find us at everybodymovesphilly.com. You can follow us on Instagram at everybodymovesphilly. And be sure to stay tuned for this afternoon's Be Empowered session. There's some great stuff coming up on the program. I really hope that I'll have a chance to see some of you in person at some point. And thanks again for spending some time with me.